Property entrepreneurs, happy New Year's Eve. It's going to make sure we're coming through loud and clear. Had a number of technical difficulties this morning, as you do. I hope you're all ready for New Year's Eve. And further to last week's video, video earlier in the week, you started detoxing, started to get clean, getting your steps in, getting rid of some of those bad habits, stop eating the Pringles, stop eating the chocolates, tone down on drinking the wine. Hopefully you've made the most of the last few days, and we want to end the year the way we want to start the year. So if you are planning on, or if you have the habit of going out with a bang for New Year's Eve, going on an absolute bender and spending all of New Year's Day hungover. I remember a few years ago, I say a few years ago, 2000 and, oh, it was two magpies. 2000 and, yeah, we're coming through live, excellent. 2000 and, can't even remember, but I went all guns blazing. We had a big party at a friend's house. Then we went to a lock-in. This is when I used to live on the farm. For those of you this is back in the day, it's like 7 years ago. Then we went to the local pub, said, oh yeah, anyone who wants to come for a lock-in, we'll keep the pub open all night. So we went to the local village pub. We were there all night, got in at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and literally, so yeah, went to sleep. I spent all of New Year's Day laying on the sofa. I'm not even joking. I was Googling, is it possible to die from a hangover? Now, if you think about how we do one thing is how we do everything, if that's how we're going to start our 2021, that's going to be indicative of what's going to happen. So I would recommend enjoy tonight, have fun, celebrate with your friends, family, whether that's virtually or with the people in your house. Make the most of it and enjoy it. But let's start 2021 the way we mean to go on. I've got a nice long walk planned tomorrow, nice breakfast planned tomorrow. I'm having a nice, sober, constructive day in the office where I've bought all the new studio gear, and talk about all the gear, no idea. I'm literally doing this still off my phone because I can't figure out how to use the rest of it. I hope the video earlier in the week gave you some sort of motivation, some inspiration, and some structure to starting to get the ball rolling. What I'm going to do now is, this is a really nice exercise. I've been doing this since about 2015. In fact, an image came up on my Facebook yesterday, which I'll share at some point, of me doing this in 2016. I've been doing this for about 6 years, and I've introduced it to Property Entrepreneur in the last couple of years. What it is an end of year review. And this is just a really, really nice way to end the year. It's reflective, it's introspective, and the best thing is it's documented. So this is my Level Up journal. This was my journal from 2019. So this was the whole of last year. Those of you that did Level Up with me, everything that happened in 2019. And then it finishes with my end of year review. And my end of year review is all of the individual bits. Well, my end of year review is closing the chapter. So it's the last thing in the journal before it gets closed down, put on the shelf, and then we do another one next year. This is a really nice thing to do. It's nice to do on New Year's Eve. It's also nice to do on New Year's Day, and you might do it in a few sessions. It's also a really nice thing to do with your friends and your family. So whether you recommend this to a friend and you compare notes on WhatsApp, or you sit down with your partner, maybe this afternoon or tomorrow, and you have a nice breakfast and you do it together, or you get your kids together for dinner tonight, and as an after dinner exercise, you go through and do this together. I would recommend either doing it on your own and sharing it, or even doing it together with the people that are around you, your friends, your family, your children, any age group. I would recommend doing this and potentially sharing it as an experience, because it's really, really valuable. There's 3 steps to it. So you're going to need a pen and paper. Grab a pen and paper. There's 3 steps to this. And it probably you could probably rattle through it in 30 minutes. Equally, you could do it over a couple of hour sessions. You can spend as much time on you want it. What we're doing is reviewing the year, enjoying reviewing the year, but also closing the chapter. So putting a stamp, this is the end of the year, this is the end of 2020, what did it look like? And then next year, so this is my journal for 2021, 2020. So this is the one I'll be doing today. I've not done this yet myself. I'll be doing it this afternoon. I'll be having a drink, I'll be having some nice food, and I'll sit down and I'll just spend an hour or so reflecting it, and then I'll share it with those around me. So the first section. So this is the first section. So this is titled the End of 2020 Review. Right at the top of the page. And step 1 is to rate your personal and professional progress, achievements, position. So there's going to be one page for personal and then one page for professional. And this is step 1. So step 1 is what we're going to do is we're going to rate ourselves at the end of the year. So doing our own scoring. If we were to rate different elements of our personal life, how would we score it? So you can create as many of these as you want. So one whole page, and here's a few to give you an example. Personal life. Out of 10, how would you rate your relationship? So your relationship with the person you're in a relationship with, your relationship with, the relationship you have with yourself, the relationships you have with your family. How would you rate your relationships out of 10? Now you might say your marriage out of 10. You might say your relationship with yourself out of 10. What we're going to do is create a list of how, this is an end of year scorecard for how we look and feel at the end of 2019. Another one would be experiences. How would you rate the amount of experiences you had in 2020 out of 10? How would you rate your happiness at the end of 2020 out of 10? How would you rate your health and fitness at the end of 2020 out of 10? How would you rate your personal finances out of 10? How would you rate your personal balance out of 10? How would you rate your family life out of 10? How would you rate your friends and the quality of friendship that you have out of 10? How would you rate your personal growth out of 10? How would you rate your personal success out of 10? What you do is you write a list of all of the things that are important to you, relevant to you, and then what we do is we score them out of 10. End of the year, how does it look? And then it's really good. It's a really nice exercise to do, but then when I sit down this year, I'll be scoring the same things. I'll be like, right, well, last year, my personal finances were a 7 out of 10. And then last year, I had Financial Fortress. This year, my personal finances are an 11 out of 10. So I can compare the 2 years. Some things will get better, some things will get worse. And then professional. Professional can often be very similar, but rate your professional year out of 10. So your growth, how well did you grow professionally out of 10? Your professional finances, how profitable and well structured and secure were your businesses out of 10? What was your level of professional execution like? Do you feel like you were a machine, you were in beast mode, or do you feel like you were sluggish, you were slow, and you really never pulled the trigger out of 10? What's your professional enjoyment out of 10? How much did you enjoy going to work and running your businesses out of 10? What's your professional profile like? So have you built your profile? Do people know who you are? What do people think of you, and what would they look like if they went and looked at you on Google or social media? How would you rate your professional profile out of 10? How would you rate your drive out of 10? So how driven were you this year? Were you really on purpose, really motivated, really driven? Or was it a hard slog? Did you feel like you were going to work? Was the whole thing laborious? Success. What has your professional success been like this year out of 10? What's your professional relationships like out of 10? Are you working with and doing business with people you really like, you're on purpose with? Or are you chasing the money and being beaten to death by investors and business partners and clients that you just really don't like working with? And leverage. What's your professional leverage been like this year? Have you been really well leveraged? Do you have 5, 10, 20, 100 people around you really leveraging your ability and your passion and your vision and making things happen? Or actually, are you still doing many things you shouldn't do? What's your professional leverage out of 10? That'll give you lots of individual scores. So that's your personal out of 10 and your professional out of 10. This is step 1. And then what I'd encourage you to do is summarise these. So we're going to summarise them with a feeling. If I said, how would you score your personal life in 2020? this gives you one final score. So you've got the individual scores, and then you've got the summary scores. And the individual scores are the individual elements. And then in summary, if you were to give one number for 2020 personally, how would you rate your personal life for 2020? And that's based on feeling. And then what we're going to do is rate it again on statistics. So add up all of those out of 10 scores, average, if there's 20 of them or 15 of them or 10 of them, add them all up, divide them by how many there are, and it'll give you the average. So for your personal life, we're going to have an average, a feeling overall. How do you feel your year went overall? And then statistically, how did your personal year go after all? And then the same for professional. Emotionally, like in summary, how did it feel like it went? How do you feel like your business year went out of 10? And then statistically, when you add them all up and divide them by 10, statistically, how did it go? That's step one. The other ones are a bit quicker to go through. I just want to make sure you get that right. The next one is step 2, which is page 2 or page 3, is 20 successes of 2020. So 20 things that you achieved in 2020 is step 2. The reason we do this is it's so easy to get to the end of the year and look at lessons you've learned, mistakes you've made, or even worse, not review it at all and just roll straight into next year. What we do here is 20 successes for 2020, 20 really tangible things that you've achieved. So last year for me, it was 10 years in business. It would have been so easy just to run through that. 10 years in business, or 10 years in property and PPN UK last year. X amount of dividend paid from one of my development companies. Buying a boat to live on. These are key landmark things that we've achieved this year. Took December off. That when we look back, like I'm going to have as much joy this year reading last year's as I will writing this year's. And next year, I'll have as much joy reading this year's as I did the year before. Because if you're on the bullet train to success, you never have time to look out the window. When you can look back and say, this was my 2020, this was the year of level up for me, this was everything I experienced, everything I achieved, how I rated myself at the end of it. It's very powerful to look back on. So step 2 is 20 successes of 2020. Look back all the way back to January, do some of the exercises we did earlier in the year, go through your social media, go through your calendar, go through the photo reel in your phone book, have a glass of wine, have some lunch, enjoy the process and really look back. But this time we're just looking for successes. 20 successes that you had, and hopefully you'll look at that and think, do you know what? Even though lockdown, even though voids, even though blah, 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 COVID, I've achieved a lot this year. And if that was all I achieved, if I'd have set out and achieved only that, I'd have been chuffed with this year. And actually, I'm really happy with how this year's ended. So use it as an opportunity to get self-introspective, to beat your chest, let your ego run, be really proud of yourself and all the things you achieved in 2020. And then finally, step 3. So step 3 is a new page, is a number of summary points. And again, this is taking it to the headline, just to remind you what this year's been like. First, we're going to choose one word that sums up 2020. What one word would you use, and you do them in this order, what one word would you use to size up 2020? And then choose a word. The next one is one feeling that you would choose to sum up 2020. So example for me is 2019. One word to sum up 2019 was level up. I blew the living daylights out of everything in 2019. Everything was level up. And then one feeling to sum up 2019. How did I feel all that year? The one word I chose was pressure. Those of you that did level up with me, I was under pressure. I was not in a good place emotionally or physically. Well, physically I was in an amazing space, but I was not in a. It wasn't an enjoyable, purposeful experience. It was under pressure. It was a lot of challenges there. So one feeling to sum up 2019 would have been pressure. Next is one lesson to take forward. So what one lesson would you take forward from 2020, 2019 into the next year? So one lesson from 2020 to take into 2021. You remember we did more, less, keep. We did 10 lessons learned. What's the one key thing, if you couldn't take anything else forward, that you'd take forward? And then finally, one person, so one person that's added the most to your journey. So choose one person. It could be a friend, it could be a family, it could be somebody that supported you, it could be somebody in your community, and just choose one person that you think has added the most or added significantly to your journey in 2020. And then finally, 3 last bits, we've done this before, and we're only going to do 3 this time: more, less, keep. 3 things you want to have more of in 2020. 3 things you want to have less of in 2021. 3 things you want to have less of in 2020, more of in 2021. 3 things you want to have less of in 2021, and 3 things that you want to keep. And that's the review. Go through it. Step 1, list out all the different personal elements of your life, rate them out of 10, and then rate them based on how you feel as a summary, and then statistically, and then professionally, all the different elements of professional growth, finances, development, rate them out of 10. And then as a summary, if you were to choose one number to rate the whole thing professionally out of 10, what would it be? And then statistically, what would that be? And you can see how they compare. Step 2 is 20 successes. Be introspective, let the ego run, really take this as an opportunity to succeed, to celebrate yourself. You would have achieved a lot this year that you're going to forget about. Document 20 things that you've achieved this year, 20 successes this year. And then finally, step 3, one word to sum up 2020, one feeling to sum up 2020, one lesson to take forward from 2020, and then one person who's added the most to you or contributed the most to you in 2020. And then at the bottom, moving into 2021, what do you want more of? 3 things. What 3 things do you want more of in 2021? What 3 things do you want less of in 2021? And what 3 things do you want to keep? Best of luck doing it. Enjoy the process, relax, have a nice pot of green tea, have a gin and tonic, have a glass of wine, have some nice food. Do it on your own, and then maybe set your life partner up with it, set your kids up with it, set your friends up with it, and then all get together on FaceTime, on Zoom, over dinner tonight and share it. Maybe you do it independently today and you share it tomorrow. This is something I would recommend everybody that does. I would recommend everybody does it. And then also I would recommend sharing it. Share it with people. Go through do it together or review it together, because there'll be a lot of value in sharing it with somebody else. You can really share the celebration, and also you'll get a lot of value from hearing other people's. It's just a fantastic experience, and I highly, highly recommend you carve out some time today on New Year's Eve, tomorrow on New Year's Day, to pull it all together, to document the year that's been. And then finally is to close the journal, is to give it the wax and the rubber stamp. And then the year of, for me, 2019, level up, goes to bed. And then this year, for me, the year of 2020, the year of frugal hedonism, gets put to bed on the shelf. And then we start again tomorrow, or Monday the 4th, with our new year of our new personal objectives, our new professional objectives, our new headline strategy, and we go out and we play the game again. So hope that's of value. I wish you all the best with it. Hope you enjoy it, and Happy New Year Happy New Year's Eve for this evening. I hope you have a great time, whatever end of the spectrum you choose to celebrate on, and hope you make the most of tomorrow, New Year's Day. Start the way we mean to go on, handful of habits, reset the bar, get your steps in, eat clean, spend time with your friends and family, get in your journal, and I will see you all in Property Entrepreneur for a week commencing the 4th, and we move into winter and go all guns blazing with our new headline strategies. Very best of luck. I wish you all the best, and Happy New Year's Eve for this evening. Enjoy your reviews. Take care.